An element is born. Introducing the Phantom Black Edition by Grand Vitara.
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates. IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, with you like family, with you always.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar and I'm here to tell you that also gives me the license to guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
In another world, an element is born. Introducing the Phantom Black Edition by Grand Vitara.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for the debate.
Hi there, welcome back friends. We are continuing to have our conversations on geopolitics as we build up to that mega coverage of Prime Minister Modi's participation in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit that pans out tomorrow and day after in Tianjin of China. A big development came in today evening, which was the GDP numbers of India's first quarter of this financial year. And they are smashing, to say the least. They are rocking. At 7.8%, India not only remains the fastest growing large economy or major economy of the world, it has also widened its gap with the next one, which is China at 5.2%. In fact, in nominal GDP terms, it's 8.8%. And remember, we are looking ahead at the festive season, which means that this bump is going to continue. Indian economy, classified as dead by President Donald Trump of the United States, is turning out to be deadly instead. It's firing on all cylinders. It's setting an example of how to ride turbulence. And that is the reason why perhaps India as a nation has made this resolve that we will stare down Trump's America on the issue of tariffs, of course. The larger US-India relationship still remains strong and long-term. It's just the Trump tariff tantrum and the turbulence coming out of which we have to negotiate. As Niranjan joins me in the studios, and of course we have a fantastic panel of guests yet again from around the world, from Russia, from China, from the United States. For the next 1 hour, we are going to bring to you the triangulation that's taking place from Tianjin to Washington, D.C., via Moscow, via New Delhi, via Kiev. And what's in it for us? What's in it for the global community? Niranjan. Abhishek, in the last 48 hours, you've had comments by Republicans. Some Republicans have slammed Donald Trump. You have think tanks in America which have been questioning Donald Trump. And you had the Jeffries report also that came in, a comment that was made by the Jeffries, which said the tariffs are primarily the consequence of the American president's personal pique, that he was not allowed to play a role in seeking to end the long-running acrimony between India and Pakistan. It's becoming increasingly clear it's not about America, it's just about Trump's personal ego. We have a debate on the new global order that's shaping up that you will see on your screens play out in the next 2 days. But here's the story so far, the different comments that continue to come in from America.
Dead economy. That's what they called us. But India's story is no longer being written in Washington. From Tokyo today, to Beijing tomorrow, New Delhi is rewriting the balance of power.
जापान टेक पावर हाउस है और भारत एक टैलेंट पावर हाउस है। भारत ने एआई, सेमीकंडक्टर, क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग, बायोटेक और स्पेस में bold और ambitious initiatives लिए हैं.
For New Delhi, this is not just about trade. It's about building a counterweight. An Asian economic bloc resilient against tariff bullying and pressure politics from Washington.
不確実性の増す世界経済の中で信頼できるパートナーと強靭なサプライチェーンを構築し、経済安全保障を確保することはさらなる経済発展に不可欠なものであります。
And while Tokyo deepens its bets on India, all eyes now shift to Beijing, where the SCO Summit begins tomorrow. But in Washington, the tone is very different. India is not seen as a partner, more as a target.
25% because they cheat us on trade, 25% because of the Russian oil. It's a refining profiteering scheme. It's a laundromat for the Kremlin.
It began with threats, penalties, and economic ultimatums. Washington's message was clear: fall in line or pay the price. But New Delhi did not blink. From leveling one of the highest tariffs on India and calling Ukraine war Modi's war, to calling India a dead economy, the Trump administration's playbook is clear: economic containment.
And I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India.
But the numbers now tell a different story. India just posted a 7.8% GDP growth in Q1, smashing every forecast and outpacing every major global economy. Going by the numbers, it is clear that Trump's containment strategy is bound to fail. And if that be the case, how soon is he going to blink? Let's debate.
And joining us on this global debate Friday evening, David Sofair. He's a Republican joining us live from Washington, D.C. I also have Richie Greenberg, who's a former Republican mayor candidate. He's live from San Francisco. Ajay Jain Bhutoria, who's a former advisor to Biden, joining us live from California. Professor Madhav Nalapat, giving the Indian perspective. He's a geopolitical expert, live from Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. Victor Gao, a Chinese perspective. He's the vice president of the Center for China and Globalization, live from Singapore. And I have Tatiana Kokoreva, who's a senior journalist. She's giving us a Russian perspective this evening. Okay, let me start with Richie Greenberg. Richie Greenberg, like Richard Wolff said, right? It's like what did he say, Abhishek? The rat talking to the elephant, is that what he said? It's like the rat talking to the elephant, right? So we're growing at 7.8, Richie. We're not going anywhere. I know you're in San Francisco in the Silicon Valley. I know, importantly, semiconductors, technology development, tech jobs, visas. I mean, I know that there are a lot of Indians there. You will look to India at some point because, our semiconductors are rolling out. By the way, they've begun to roll out. And we are not going to stop. We are growing. We continue to be the fastest growing economy. We aren't going to stop.
That's an excellent point. And we appreciate it. I appreciate here in San Francisco, as you mentioned, as the world knows, we are pretty much the center of the universe in technology development, apps development, and attracting and retaining or trying to retain talent. And we know that around the world, we are all looked at as being why people want to come to the United States, why people want to come to California and San Francisco, Silicon Valley area. So this whole prospect of there being tension between India and the United States, between Trump and the rest of the world in terms of tariff and other restrictions, this is problematic, but there's always a reason behind this, and it's called a level playing field. It's called being fair to the different economies. It's called being fair to the United States. And that's particularly why we have this particular impasse right now. This is why we've got the tension that's happening. And I'm looking forward to these next few weeks, different conversations, the SCO and others, to get things resolved, to get tariffs brought down, so that way we can all move forward in a whole global economy.
Richie, if I could continue this conversation with you a little further. You are best placed to answer this. In fact, you said you are at the center of the universe when it comes to tech. Silicon Valley has an umbilical link with India. And the manner in which the Trump administration is really going after this ecosystem in terms of talent, and you mentioned the challenges of retaining talent. I mean, what is happening is definitely not the best approach to retaining talent, as you say. In which case, and remember also, politically speaking, you are, apart from being in the center of tech universe, you are also right there in the hub or an island of Democrat establishments, so to say, California ruled by Gavin Newsom. You think you can prevail upon Donald Trump to bring the India-US relationship back on track?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting conundrum as you bring up. And here in California is majority Democrats. And as we've seen over the last few years, they've become further and further left wing, which is very problematic overall for the United States. And here in San Francisco, it's even worse. It's even more left wing, radical, almost socialist, as some people like to call them. And that does not necessarily reflect what's happening in the rest of the United States. As you know, as the world knows, we have Donald Trump as the president, a Republican. Also, both houses of Congress are controlled by Republicans, and Trump won the election back in November. So you have, in a sense, the Republicans are in charge. So even though we are all looking, and in this panel today, the discussion today is talking about international relations, here in the United States, we have our own problems where we've got tension and fights between the Republicans and Democrats on how to control all these different issues domestically and foreign.
And Richie, said, sorry for interjecting, but I have a point there because traditionally, the larger Indian American community, the diaspora, has leaned Democrat. You have a challenge there as you look forward to the midterms in January, February. In which case, again, what President Trump is doing is really making life difficult for you and your politics there on the ground.
Yes and no. Again, we've got different states. We have 50 states that each state has its own elections, its own characteristics, its own Republican or Democrat majority. And as you say, a lot of Indian diaspora, there's two responses from me on that. First of all, if they're not legal citizens here that they're not going to be voting. That's the first thing. So you can bring as many as you want into work here under different visas, but they don't affect politics in terms of being able to vote. It's just, it is a conundrum. Of course it is. But, we've seen more and more of those who have come to the United States wind up now, they're more leaning to the right. They're leaning more towards Republican because they see how detrimental the Democrats have become, how far left they've moved.
I don't know if that really helps you, Richie. Let me take this to Professor Niranjan, if I could, to Professor Madhav Nalapat. Professor Nalapat, Prime Minister Modi, in many ways, had got the diaspora not only center stage in terms of American politics, but also made it a little centrist, perhaps look at Republicans as an option. And with that Howdy Modi event, right, Niranjan? You covered that from Houston. I think that really paid dividends to the Republicans. Professor Nalapat, do you think that stands jeopardized, that stands a little broken?
Look, let me point out that Peter Navarro, Trump's trade representative, has himself admitted that Trump's war on India is personal, and it is deeply personal. The fact is, we refuse to accept the untruth uttered by President Trump that he was responsible for ending the Operation Sindoor. That was the brief conflict between India and Pakistan that lasted about 80 days. He kept on repeating that, and we had to say very politely, sorry, you're wrong. We ended it. The DGMO, Director General of Military Operations in Pakistan, dialed our DGMO, and we had a ceasefire deal. Now, the point is that, you cannot make politics personal. And so far as Silicon Valley is concerned, I've been there multiple times, and I can tell you, in some parts of Silicon Valley, and these are not the poverty-stricken parts, but the richest parts, you can't go 20 houses without leaving and a house where an ethnic Indian is staying. So, quite frankly, the reality is that India is deeply embedded in US tech. As Prime Minister Modi pointed out to the Japanese Prime Minister today, India is a talent powerhouse. It's President Trump is basically taking a sledgehammer to the India-US relationship. The good news is, frankly, that one, may I remind Mr. Ritchie, do you remember reading about the 1960s? Read about the great Indian famine. Indians were dying in their millions. And Lyndon Johnson, bless him, he used to send grain to India, PL 480, and that helped many millions of Indians to survive. But I'd like to point out, Lyndon Johnson leaned very hard on the government of India to basically side with the US on the Vietnam War.
Right.
And India refused to sign with the US on the Vietnam War. And of course, that ended in a complete fiasco for the United States.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is that, let's be honest, that when we did not succumb to pressure, when we were starving, we're not going to succumb to pressure now when we have become an exporter of grain. And quite honestly, I don't believe the India-US relationship will go haywire. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But it's so embedded in so many relationships. It's not just leaders and leaders. But I'd like to say, God saved the United States and God saved the Republican Party from President Trump. I don't know what's happening to the man.
Yeah.
He's going racist. He's talking in terms of, he's actively against African American symbols of honor, against Latino symbols of honor, against Indian American.
David, what are you saying, David? David, what are you saying? David is interjecting.
What you're saying is far-fetched on a good day.
Sorry?
So, we have to break it down, and we really have to break it down. We have to focus on all the good things that are happening right now.
What are the good things, David?
India, America's in a similar place, right? So we are implementing tariffs and reciprocal tariffs for the sake of the global good and for the sake of global democracy. And we are in a very, very safe
Sorry
place.
to interject. How do you save democracy by having a dinner with a failed marshal of Pakistan? Global good. He has not won an election with the kind of margin that President Trump has or Prime Minister Modi has. And you are having dinner with him and saying you're saving democracy. For God's sake, David.
Global good. Okay, one second.
You guys are all over
global. Okay, one second. David, I'm adding to what my colleague said. Is global good, David? David, is global good? 1 minute. David, is global good? David, my friend.
We can hear you, but our viewers can't. So.
I'm adding to what my colleague said there. Is global good having dinner? Is global good having dinner with the army chief of a country that pushes terror into India and is global
and
America and is global good? 1 minute. Sir, hear my question, David. David, hear my question. You like it? Is global good doing crypto deals with Pakistan?
No, that's what I'm
crypto deals and companies that are run by Trump's family. You want me to pull out the names of the crypto companies?
I mean, sorry, you provoked and you got provoked, but then, we give the floor to you. Please go ahead.
Now you're talking over me, so I can't.
Go ahead.
I don't have the chance to respond to the question because you're speaking over me. So go ahead. But if we can stay focused and stay on track, what we have to understand is the what's happening in the States now. So we've got reciprocal tariffs, and which is unfortunate for the Indian population, which it's going to stop once a resolution will be made. And that's going to happen now. Now, as far as some crypto deal or some other national or whatever going in there on these unfounded things that you guys like to talk about on your program, that's something else. But here's what we do have. We have a America that is in a fantastic place. We have crime going all the way down.
Okay.
We have our borders being in a great place. So we are in a great place.
Fantastic.
And by the way, India and American relations are in a fantastic place as well. So we are going to build a British empire.
But let me tell you something. I mean, the manner in which you've gone after the Indians, and there is a lot of negative press, especially on Indians. I saw Tatiana, she wanted to come in. Tatiana, I'll give the floor to you before I come in, because I know even we have a Dem, Ajay Jain, who also wanted to come in and question both the Republicans here. But I'll give the floor to you, Tatiana. First up, a Russian perspective response to the Americans.
It was a very short comment there, John, that I wanted to make, is that whenever somebody even slightly remotely connected to the political establishment in the US talks about democracy, you just need to replace global with American in any phrase touching upon global good or global democracy, and then you'll get the meaning right. It's for American good, not global good.
Yep.
It's for American democracy, whether we can call it a democracy or not, that's a matter of personal opinion.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay, but David, you were saying you are in a fantastic place you are taking care of global good. But unfortunately,
please continue. That's extremely rich coming from what you're saying, but yes, please.
David, just take this and then take my question and then you answer. You see, who's listening to the United States? German Chancellor Merz has ruled out a Putin-Zelensky meeting. Zelensky himself has said either you meet by September 1 or don't meet. Russian forces in the last 12 hours have advanced in the Kupiansk Oblast of Ukraine and have rejected, effectively, a possible meeting with Zelensky. And in that backdrop, to be calling, nobody's listening to you. Denmark summons your ambassador and, sternly tells you to stop spying and creating dissent amongst the Greenlanders against Denmark. And in that backdrop, to be calling the Ukraine war as Modi's war, David, it's really little unfair that, nobody's listening to you, for God's sake.
We're going to pull back our troops. By the way,
actually,
Modi's war, we're going to pull back our troops.
The entire world is listening, right? Yeah. And the entire world is all ears, right? Now, having said that, these are not my words. So we are confident that in a negotiation tactic that something good will happen from this. But we have to deal with our reciprocal tariffs that we have in place, and that's where we are at the moment. So we have to also deal with the Europeans who were supposed to have the backstop for Russia. So none of that's happened. It's an ongoing conflict and it's an ongoing negotiation. So hopefully all of these, I see all as transitory. These are transitory tariffs, and hopefully a resolution, can happen soon for the sake of global democracy.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Ajay Jain Bhutoria is joining us. He's an American. He's in California, and he's been a former advisor to Biden. Okay. Eric Garcetti is an American, right?
Well,
Ajay?
how did that work out?
Ajay, hi. Eric Garcetti is an American, right? I'm guessing he's American, right? He's still American.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was an ambassador
he's
here.
American.
He was an ambassador here until Trump decided to, of course, replace him. But let me tell you, one sec, David, listen. No, David, listen. David, listen, because you spoke about, the global good, following a rules-based order. You know what Eric Garcetti said? Let me quote an American to an American. Eric Garcetti, sir, said in India, while he was the ambassador here, he said, they bought Russian oil because we wanted somebody to buy Russian oil at a price cap. That was not a violation or anything. It was actually the design of the policy, because as a commodity, we didn't want the oil prices going up, and they fulfilled that. This is an American ambassador to India saying it on record. Your ambassador wanted us to buy Russian oil. So why are you cribbing about it now? Why are you cribbing about it? Ajay, I want Ajay to take that. Ajay, didn't Eric Garcetti say that?
So, let me address that. So what happened is that 5.5 million Indian Americans in the last 25 years working with President Clinton to Bush to Obama to Biden had built a strong relationship where we saw the trade going from 20 billion to 190 billion, Quad standing tall, and India-US partnership growing. And this guy, Trump, comes in and erodes the complete trust and destroys this relationship right now, as of now, and by slapping 50% tariff. Now he's saying that it's a Pete Navarro has gone crazy. He's kind of pleading to get attention by saying this is the Modi's war. This war is a U.S. war, and the war can be stopped by Ukraine and Russia. President Trump has miserably failed in all fronts. I mean, he said that he will stop the war in 2 weeks once he comes to the power. He brought Putin to U.S. in Alaska. He brought Zelensky. He brought the European allies, and none of them agrees. So now they are trying to deflect the attention from their domestic issues, which they are going to lose in midterms, and they're trying to put in the attention on India by calling it. Now, if we look at the numbers, India buys around 24 to 30 billion dollars of Russian oil, and China buys around 40 billion of Russian oil. The Russia's spending on its defense budget is around 149 billion. So what India is buying oil is a very fraction of Russia's percentage. Even if India was to stop this, Russia's defense budget would not get impacted much. So that's the saying that and as you rightly pointed out, Eric Garcetti clearly said that if the Russia's oil prices today are $65 barrel around that price, and if India stops buying that oil from Russia and goes to the main market to seek its needs, the oil prices could go to $200 a barrel. Major economics has pointed that out. If that happens, the global supply chain, the global economics, the smaller countries who cannot afford that prices, and that will create imbalance. That is why Garcetti and President Biden said India should buy this oil so that we maintain a decorum and supply chain and stable prices for the oil. Yeah. Now, Pete Navarro, Scott Bessent, and Trump coming in and targeting India, it is very personal, as someone pointed out. Trump not getting a credit for which he does not deserve for trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize nomination, and that escalated. But let's look at in 24 the same way when Trudeau was going behind India and making all kind of things.
Yeah, but be careful there, Ajay. Ajay, be careful what you say, my friend. You called him a crazy guy. They're going to watch you. They're going to be listening carefully to you. They might even send you back to India. Be very careful what you say there.
Yeah, look,
David looks animated. David, hold on, David. David, don't get so angry, David.
What he's saying, what he's saying is far-fetched on a good day. Especially when it comes to oil and supply chain and the price going up to 200. it's reckless on a good day, but it is in line with the former Biden administration and their alliance to not having reliance on American oil or our friends in the Gulf. Now, so you have to understand that that's something else. So to our viewers, we cannot take, the former Biden advisors, comments on oil in a serious way, and the numbers don't lie. So as America gets responsible when it comes to energy and trade, because remember, these are reciprocal tariffs. Right, and we're making America safe again.
David, is it responsible when President Putin, in front of President Trump, says the Russia-US trade has gone up by 23%?
No, that's all unproven. So
that's responsible.
Those statistics and those sources, we'd like to see them. But what you're saying again has no merit. And
what? One second, David. 1 second, David, my friend. David, my friend, David, please. David, are you in front of a computer? Do you? One second. Madam Nalapal, just coming. Do you have a computer in front of you, my friend? No. David, I'm going to Victor Gao. 1 second. David, you love this exercise. David, do this. 1 second. Madhavji, 1 minute. I'm going to Victor Gao, but while I go to Victor Gao, I'm giving David a live exercise, David. I'm sorry to have to do this on live TV, but I want you to go to the US ITC website. I'm guessing it's an American government website, which lists the trade that your country does with countries around the world, and go to that website and put in the keywords Russia and look at the trade in 23, 24, and the first 7 months from January to July, and you will be shocked, my friend. It's gone up 23%. I'm not going to engage you on that. I want you to see the numbers for yourself because you call them baseless, but I'm going to Victor Gao.
Okay, we go to Victor Gao. You want to go to Victor, you have been advisor to Deng Xiaoping. He very famously said, Victor, that it does not matter the cat is black or red so long as it catches the mice. Just day before yesterday, Prime Minister Modi said, Victor, that it does not matter whether it's dollar or pound, the investment should be coming in. You think that in the present circumstance that we find ourselves in, with India as the fastest growing economy in the world, China second, there is a window that President Trump has provided for India and China to really have a reset. I'm saying with a lot of caution because I was witness to the Wuhan reset, but unfortunately it was given away in the heights of Galwan. Victor, your take on the possible reset between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping, and between India and China and Tianjin on the sidelines of the SCO Summit.
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, congratulations to India for achieving 7.8% GDP growth. This is truly a spectacular growth rate. It outpaces anyone else. And it also strongly indicates that the Indian economy is not dead economy. And whoever who calls the Indian economy dead economy probably is completely out of touch with the reality. Secondly, China and all of us are warmly welcome His Excellency Prime Minister Modi to come to China to attend the SCO Summit in Tianjin, which is just 100 kilometers away from Beijing. And I think his presence will really boost the prospect that the SCO members can really gather together to talk about all the issues that mankind is faced with. The fact that Prime Minister Modi is not staying behind, as President Putin will do, to attend the September the 3rd celebration in Beijing is a little bit pity, but nothing in life is perfect. Now, the other thing is that with or without the United States, China and India need to reset their relations. After all, we are the superpopulations, meaning both of us, each of us has a population more than 1 billion. We have a population 1.4 billion for each. That means China and India, being the only two superpopulations in the world, have tremendous amount of responsibility for our own people, for each other, and for mankind as a whole. We need to do the right thing. We need to overcome the territorial disputes between us and we need to engage with each other as equals rather than, for example, dismissing each other, as President Trump has demonstrated fully that he dismissed India as a great nation. He wants to write off India as if India is not consequential. No, India is consequential. India is impactful, as China is, and I hope we will be held with great respect by all the countries in the world. And the fact that the United States under Trump is not doing the right thing, dealing with India, is really a shame. I'm ashamed to see that India will be dealt with, manhandled like this by the President of the United States. That gives us more incentive to engage with each other as equals, to talk with each other, size up with each other, and whatever differences there are, which may be plenty between China and India, we need to deal with them head along. We do not need to pretend that they do not exist, but we cannot be hijacked by the territorial disputes. Allow me to make one very important point. China-Indian relations is not one-dimensional. There are multiple dimensions. The fact that the territorial dispute is a poison in our relations doesn't mean that the overall relations between China and India should be poisoned by this territorial dispute. We have enough wisdom and courage and vision to transcend this territorial dispute between us, and we want to do the right thing for ourselves and for mankind. And we want to demonstrate to President Trump of the United States that China and India can overcome all the odds and hold each other's hand, move in the same direction, despite of all these challenges and difficulties.
Yeah, the thing is, I'll go to Tatiana now, because, China is it's the world's largest importer of Russian oil, right? It doesn't face 50% tariffs. See, because Trump is a bully, right? Whether you like it or not, David, Richie, Trump is a bully, right? You know it, I know it. You may not want to say it on Indian television, but he's a bully. And he is a bully. Okay, but I'm going to Tatiana. He's a bully. Okay.
Our friends, the Chinese.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the courage to slap 50%.
In China.
No, 1 second. He doesn't have the courage. He lacks the courage.
Come on.
Trump,
David, hang on. That David does not mind if he's
it's okay. It's okay, David. It's okay. My question is to Tatiana. Okay? Don't get irritated. My question is to Tatiana. See, the thing is,
Putin doesn't mind if he's a strongman.
Yeah, it's okay. Now, the question is, Tatiana, they're going after Russian oil refineries. Now, I'm reading reports, and I wanted to get your view on this, because you're sitting there. They're targeting Russian oil refineries. It's clear they don't like it. They don't like the fact that China is buying Russian oil. They don't like the fact that India is buying Russian oil. And that's why they're going after Russian oil refineries. I'm reading reports that in the last 2 days, there are different numbers. I'd like to get a realistic perspective from you. Some reports saying 5% of oil refineries or oil refineries supplying up to 5% have been hit. Some numbers saying 17%. What's the real number and what's going on the ground?
That's an interesting question that you pose, because again, the reports that you're reading, there's a reason why it says reports.
Yeah.
Look,
mostly American.
Let's step back for a second, okay? And I do believe that some of our American speakers will find the things that I say actually interesting. Look, first of all, I wouldn't agree that Donald Trump is a bully per se. He's a showman, and the show that he's been putting on, I think we've discussed this over and over again. Just as we cannot take everything that's being said by anybody within the American establishment completely at face value when it comes to the global good, the so-called global good, because every American leader, as they should really, has been thinking about, number one, about their country, so all the global good they talk about is usually American good, and we need to remember that. But also, I think even by discussing and by indulging in this Trump bashing, it is extremely entertaining, but it is kind of pointless from, I think, the standpoint of the countries of the global South. Look, I mean, the SCO has grown immensely we're talking about, we're hearing reports and we're talking about finally overcoming the demarcation dispute between India and China, which would an extremely significant development. We need to, if anything, thank Donald Trump for pushing them, together, for making it possible. I think that, as long as we're discussing the democratic side of things, our Democratic speaker has said a lot about, oh, look, the Democrats wanted India to buy Russian oil. Of course they wanted somebody to buy Russian oil, because otherwise, with the sanctions, they would have crashed the oil market. And the first country that would have suffered was going to be the US. Europe is still suffering, We're talking about GDP numbers here. Germany has been in negative numbers for 2 years in a row now?
Yeah.
France is less than half a point. In the meantime, Russia being under every single sanction imaginable, they're always saying, well, we'll stifle Russia with more sanctions. I'm quite interested in what they want to put out next, because they've literally sanctioned almost everything, apart from the things that they need for themselves, as we know. Because again, America goes first. And yet Russia's GDP growth is substantially higher than the European one, than the leading European economies. So yes, of course, we're behind India, behind China. We're facing incredible amount of pressure.
Okay.
But again, this is about the numbers. So let's be grateful to Donald Trump allowing the SCO countries and pushing them to thriving together and thriving in collaboration and cooperation.
Absolutely.
That might have not happened if it weren't for his incredible showmanship.
Okay, I want Madhav Nalapat and Richie to come into this. Richie first. Richie, you were nodding and you seem to be in agreement with Tatanya on many counts. I think part of it must be coming down from the Trump-Putin bonhomie.
We're aligned, yeah.
Donald Trump bringing U.S., Washington and Moscow to the same page,
Well, you and I, we both agree very much that Trump is a showman. And I have been on this panel before in the past where I explained to everyone around the world that this is Trump's demeanor. This is how he is. This is how he acts. He is a showman. He likes the attention. And our dear host just before said that no one is listening to Trump. No one's listening to America. That's wrong. Everyone's listening to him.
I gave you examples. I gave you examples with the headlines of the last 12 hours, Richie.
Can I add to that?
Everyone is listening to Trump. And that doesn't mean that what you hear you're going to like. Also, as we know, he has written the books, The Art of the Deal. He's a businessman first. He likes to put things on the table. Sometimes they're not very appealing things on the table. Sometimes they're very rudimentary. Sometimes they are insulting, unfortunately. But that is him. In fact, him and I, we both come from the same area of New York, believe it or not. But I'm not really like Trump. So I understand him. I don't get upset
don't
by
call
him.
New York effect. It's a fantastic city.
He's wary about being compared.
This is how he is, and the fact, as my colleague from Moscow has said, right, Tatiana, you said that, he is the force that has pushed people together to talk, to have dialogue, to negotiate in certain ways, and to come together to resolve issues. And even though he might have not been directly involved in many things, he forces other people and other nations, in this case, to come together. And it's having a positive effect.
Now, let me
Tatanya, would you want to respond to this, or I will go to Professor Nalapa?
You respond and I'll go to Madhav.
There's a very big difference between forcing other countries or allowing them to, because they just look at what he does and say, okay, no, I'm not going to talk to this. I'm going to talk to
but
my friends here.
the options are there. You got the options.
Something.
No, but I do agree. I do agree.
It's just like with the resolution of the crisis with Pakistan, no, Donald Trump is not responsible for everything that happens on the face of the planet. I'm sorry. I mean, he wishes to, but no, there are a lot of very, very important developments that happen without him knowing and during the time that he's, basically asleep.
Yeah. On a lighter note, he should get the Nobel Peace Prize for getting Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping and Modi on the same stage in China. And it's happening in exactly 2 days from now. That's on a lighter note. But I want to go to Madhav Nalapat. See, Madhav, also what he's done is, Mr. Nalapat, in the last 24 hours, you had this grouping called Quad, right? Look what Quad countries have done, Quad nations. Japan decided not to send its negotiation team to America. They've cancelled the visit. Just as Prime Minister had taken off from London, from Delhi for Tokyo. It happened last night. Yesterday afternoon, we had the breaking news update that the Japanese negotiating team is not going for the trade talks. And then you had Australia, the Australian minister who said on record that he opposes the tariffs imposed by America. He also made a very interesting comment. He said, we are for diversification, hinting that they want to look at other markets. They're tired of this global order. They want to diversify. Everyone's looking out for their own. Effectively, Donald Trump is upset even the Quad, right? He's almost destroying the Quad by this reckless, tariff that he's imposing on countries. Smaller countries are staring back at him. Madhavji.
Look, I want to just make a very simple point. When you are a civilized human being, you behave as a civilized human being, which basically means showing respect to others and treating others with respect. You don't trample on them, you don't bully them, you don't shout at them, you don't abuse them. And that too, not in the privacy of a room, but on live television, preening in front of the cameras. I mean, the situation is no self-respecting country can tolerate this kind of bullying. No self-respecting leader can tolerate this kind of bullying. May I point out very respectfully to President Trump. I mean, you were born in a billionaire's house. You only known wealth. Prime Minister Modi was born among the poorest of the poor. He comes from one of the most backward locations, and he made his way up by great hardship. Immense hardship. That's a big difference between him and President Trump. President Trump doesn't understand how those who are not millionaires, billionaires or at least millionaires can live. Okay. Prime Minister Modi knows how the poorest of people live, and he empathizes with that. And that's what a good human being should be.
Professor Nalapat.
Not somebody who, I'm sorry, just listen, please don't interject the way President Trump does. Look, I read a book, when his years out of power. And if you go on Google, you'll find I've supported Trump from 2015 when he didn't even declare his candidacy. That's why the last 5 or 6 weeks, have really shocked me. And I read a book by his niece that the man has no empathy whatsoever. I'm forced to concede that. The way he talks about the global south, I don't want to even name it, David, but the first letter starts with S, and the last letter is with E, and we all know what he said. I mean, that's the kind of language that somebody who's fighting in some gutter will use, not the President of the United States. And you can't expect a self-respecting country like India. As I pointed out, we did not succumb when we were starving. We're not going to succumb now when we have surplus stocks. And I can tell you, US tech companies are not going to stay away because of President Trump. They have made it very clear they're going to continue in India because they're going to grow in India and they're going to develop in India. No one is listening to President Trump except the echo chamber around him, which basically relies on him for their care and feeding.
Okay, Professor Nalapat, I was interjecting because I wanted a little different nuanced view also from you. But before that, I have to get in David. David, given the last 40 minutes of conversation that we have had, and we began with India's GDP numbers, you think that President Trump came really unprepared into the presidency so far as India is concerned? He really misread Prime Minister Modi despite his friendship, and he really misread India's resolve to really stare down.
Sure. So, I think that President Modi and President Trump still have a great relationship, and it's ongoing. And, by the way, I'm a big fan of, India's administration now as well. I think most Americans are, especially in our party. Now, with that being said, we are dealing with some things that are transitory. So those has to do with trade mostly and making America fair again. We had a similar arrangement with our friends, the Chinese, and that has bared some good fruits now. So there's been some concessions there. So, tariffs are not a bad thing, and either are closed borders. I mean, our friends in India do the exact same thing. So have we taken a page out of their playbook? Maybe we have. But here's what we're doing right now.
How much time?
Here's what we're doing right now. Here's what we're doing right now. Hang on.
Okay, I want to go. David, quick last word. David, I have 40 seconds on the show. I just want to get Victor because he's barely spoken in this. Victor, we've bought over 1,000 tanks that are operational from Russia. Our S-400 defense system is the backbone of our, defense, right? Air defense system. We have over 200 Sukhois in our fleet. The BrahMos missile, jointly developed by India and Russia. Now, these are facts that America does not like. It irritates them, right? That we have had a long standing relationship with Russia. But interesting, going into this meeting, right, in China at the SCO Summit, what are your takeaways? I'm giving you the last word, Victor. In 30 seconds, if you can summarize what you're looking forward to.
Thank you very much. I see a much more expanded and enhanced SCO. And allow me to quote one distinguished Indian who told me that among all the countries in the world, Russia has never betrayed India. And the former Soviet Union never betrayed India. Therefore, for any country try to throw a wedge into Russian-Indian friendship is futile. They don't know what's going on between India and the former Soviet Union and today's Russia for decades. And I think with both Russia and India, as well as China, as important members of SCO, I'm pretty sure this year's SCO Summit will be crowned with great success. And Prime Minister Modi will emerge as a victor because he is making peace with all the other members of SCO at the time when the United States is manhandling India, dismissing the Indian economic prospect, and showing disrespect for the people of India.
Fantastic point to end with. I know, if I allow Abhishek to start talking about the number of times America has backstabbed India, he won't stop. He's done a thesis on that. But Abhishek, last word.
No, equally China, Niranjan, I would say, let's not get very excited about China. Victor is my friend. I can tell him on his face that let's not get very excited about China either. But then this is a game of chess. And, everyone is guarding their own interest.
Right.
Just as America has right to be mega, India has right to be mega, and of course Xi Jinping there hosting all the world leaders. That's tomorrow and day after. We of course will keep you abreast and updated with our senior editor Shravan Sen there on the ground, getting you all the pictures, all the information, and of course deep, incisive insights into the world of geopolitics and geoeconomics as it pans out over the next 2 days.
Biggest coverage on Republic. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Play it your way.
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates. IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
Play it your way. Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। भारत की अपनी दुकान, इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
In another world, an element is born. Introducing the Phantom Black Edition by Grand Vitara. Nexa. In another world, an element is born. Introducing the Phantom Black Edition by Grand Vitara. Nexa.
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions. In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates: IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur, and Amity University.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Play it your way.
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी, MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा सिप।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy, every day.
Today, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy, every day.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
At 8 p.m. tonight, infra crumbles as monsoon wreaks havoc across India. Who's responsible, viewers? We are asking tonight. And at 8:30 p.m. At 8:30 p.m. a massive face-off over India's abuse politics. First they abused the Prime Minister, now they want to cut Home Minister Amit Shah's head off. What's happening? And at 9 p.m. Prime Minister Modi sets the tone. Make in India and make for the world is the message amid Trump's tariff bullying, viewers. Very important. That. Hello and welcome, viewers. I am Aishwarya Kapoor and you're watching the debate at 8. Arnab Goswami is going to be back soon, so don't worry at all. But now, if I could just request if he could play the visuals alongside while I'm speaking. Viewers, a question which comes to my mind tonight is the priority of our politicians misplaced completely? Pradeep, can we play visual 60-40, please? Why am I saying so? That why are the priorities or are the priorities of our politicians completely misplaced? And I'm not questioning this to one particular party, I'm asking the complete political class. The Congress, the Aam Aadmi Party, the BJP, the SP, the RJD, and you name it. We talk about becoming the third largest economy, a $5 trillion economy. We are the world's largest democracy, and we want to become the world's largest economy by 37, 45, 48, or whatever year that is. But it only takes 10, or in certain areas, just 5 days of rain. And 8 states of India come at a standstill. Why? We were being told that kilometers and kilometers of road is being built daily. We were being told by the Punjab government that ye bhi galat hai ji aur wo bhi galat hai. The Congress doesn't work, the BJP doesn't, we will. So where are you tonight? Have you seen the fields of Punjab? Have you seen the condition in Himachal Pradesh? Have you seen the condition of just after 4 hours of the national capital? Have you seen what has happened in Mumbai? Have you seen what happens in Bangalore repeatedly and regularly? Still, vikas ho raha hai. Development is happening, but where? Is it just on the paper? We are being told that bridges are being built. State governments say, central governments say. But those bridges are washed away in just 1 or 2 days of rains. There's no cyclone. There is no typhoon. There is no tsunami. For God's sake. It's rain. And these bridges, these national highways, these state roads, these state highways, they are built with crores and crores and crores of rupees. Today, if I ask the BJP, the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress, the SP, the RJD, any political party across the spectrum, viewers, they're going to raise the finger onto the other. You ask the Aam Aadmi Party Punjab government, why are more than a dozen districts in Punjab in this condition? Why is Gurdaspur like this? Why is Firozpur like this? They will say, listen, ji, we can't do anything. We can't make water flow in the opposite direction. It's coming from Himachal Pradesh. It's coming from Jammu and Kashmir. One is ruled by the Congress. The other is ruled by, it's a special state. Omar Abdullah is the chief minister, but run by the governor, the LG, through Delhi. So please ask Delhi. When they were in Delhi, they used to say, "Ji, we don't have any power." Punjab is a full state. Punjab is a border state. But it's not only about Aam Aadmi Party. It's about Himachal Pradesh. It's about Uttarakhand. It's about parts of Uttar Pradesh. It's about Madhya Pradesh. It's about Bihar. It's about Jammu and Kashmir. Where is that development going? In 2014, the BJP won on the plank of development. They said we will do development like never before. But you see, in these visuals, I see farmers, not the administration, and that is something which really, really angers me. There is no administration. In Punjab, there was no administration for 14 hours. Those farmers on whose backs the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress did what they had to do in the last general elections of 24, they left those farmers to fend for themselves. You know, bridges were made by these farmers on their own. They are doing their own langar service, no food, no electricity, no roads. Their livelihood, their land, their farmland has been taken away by the river water, and the administration has not worked. Why? Because the political priority of our politicians is completely misplaced. You know, where are they busy? They are busy in a lathi charge in Bihar, because that is where the election is. But they have forgotten, even in 3 districts of Bihar, there is flood. But the Congress and the BJP cadre needs to go at it. When there is a political rally, irrespective of the parties, everything happens. The administration will happen, the crowds will come, the buses will be done, the food will be taken care of, the water supply will be there, the land will be flat, the audio system will be there, everything will be set. Everything will be set. But when the people need it, Rahul Gandhi is busy doing his rally. It's okay, Pradeep. I don't want these visuals. Anyways, he enters into a water field wearing his socks. What can we expect from him? But I am asking those politicians who are still connected to the grassroots. What are you doing? What are you doing? Can't you see that your priorities are misplaced? And like how? Like how? You are unable to understand what the people of this country need today. From Punjab to Bihar, from Madhya Pradesh to Rajasthan, from Jammu Kashmir to Himachal. Lakhs of people and thousands of crores of rupees has been washed away. Why? We are not in 1825. We are in 2025. There are systems in place. There is technology in Delhi. We talk about to prevent, because again the parali season is about to come. You talk to any BJP leader in Delhi, they come and say, hello, we are creating a system in which we can do artificial rain and prevent pollution from happening. So we are in 2025. We had the Met Department warnings, the state departments, the central departments. We have letters from Met Department coming to the central government, from central government going to the respective state governments. But then what? Nothing. What are your DMs, your SDMs, your state ministers, your chief ministers doing? I know you can't make the water flow in the opposite direction, from bottom to the top. If rain is coming, it will come down. And these are incessant rains. After 88, people are comparing it to the 1988 floods. But have you forgotten, this is not 1988, this is 2025. There are measures, there are steps, there is technology, there is availability of infrastructure. But what have you done? Where is that development? Where are the precautions? It's not that suddenly a river has been created.
No, these rivers have always been there. Whether it is Punjab, whether it is Haryana, whether it is Himachal Pradesh, whether it is Uttarakhand, whether it is Rajasthan. Imagine, viewers. And Pradeep, if you could just play visuals of Rajasthan for a minute. Rajasthan. Close your eyes and name Rajasthan. First thing you see is desert, sand. What is happening in Rajasthan? More than half a dozen districts, 8 to be exact, are flooded. The Chief Minister is on the ground. I give it that much. That the Chief Minister is on the ground. The Uttarakhand Chief Minister has gone to the place where the landslide has happened. But is that enough? Is that too little, too late? What have you done? Where is that development which you so brag about? Because the people wanted that development when this happens. For what have you made those roads to be washed away? For what are those national highways and state highways made? So that they're just washed in 2 days of rain? It's a very simple question. Shouldn't that be asked? The taxpayers' money is being spent on what? Every time, year after year, season after season, we see. In certain areas, I understand. Certain particular pockets in Himachal, Uttarakhand, Northeast, Jammu and Kashmir, there are certain roads which have to be regularly built up. I understand. But not the Chandigarh Lake. Not in Madhya Pradesh. Not in Delhi. Not in Delhi. 4 hours. It took 4 hours of rain to bring the national capital to a standstill. And Pradeep, you are well versed with Bombay. If you could just play the Mumbai visuals. You want to see the Mumbai visuals, viewers? Bangalore, every year, year after year. It's nothing new. Fields are looking as if they are seashores. Why? Because proper precautions have not been taken. The administration was told. The Met Department did their duty thoroughly. Letters are sent, notifications are sent. Those notifications have been sent in a very clerical way to the central government, from the central government to the state government. But what has happened on it? Uspe kiya kya? As I say, पूछता है भारत. We need to know. The people of this country need to know. What have you done? Nothing. That's why people are building those barrages on their own in Punjab. People are feeding their own on their own. Everything is happening on their own. And if everything has to happen on their own, why can't or why will these people not ask, why do we need you? Irrespective of whether it's the Congress Himachal government, the BJP Haryana Rajasthan government, the Aam Aadmi Party Punjab government, or the newly elected Delhi BJP government, which said that we will not let the national capital in such a situation. We will not leave Delhi in such a situation. We will make it better. And the only counter which comes in from the BJP, and I'm waiting for that in my debate in the next 1 minute, Tohin Sinha joins me. That in the Aam Aadmi Party's tenure, it only used to take 20 minutes or 40 minutes of rain, and now it takes 4 hours. Is that going to be the BJP Delhi unit's counter? I'm not saying that the chief ministers have to be on their spots, on ground, handling situation. If they are, well and good. They have other work as well. But where are the other? Where is the whole Amla, as it's called? Where is the complete administration? Where are they? Where is the SDM? Where is the DM? Where is the precautionary measure? It's not that it's not sudden anymore, viewers. We need to understand. Comparison with 1988 floods is okay. But in 1988, we didn't have the technology we have in 2025. We were aware of what's going to happen. Still we didn't act, and that is criminal. Whoever that officer is responsible in these respective states, but that is equivalent to a criminal. It's a criminal issue. Please understand. I'm going to show you a very short report, but you need to see this, what's happening in 8 states of the country before I debate. Thank you very much. The report.
The weather is the challenge. Advisory has been issued for the low-lying areas, and so does the adversary that always remains in a bid to destabilize this very area.
Beas River, which is raging with the strength and intensity. in the past 24 hours in 3 to 4 districts of Himachal Pradesh, which includes Mandi, Kullu and Manali. There has been a heavy destruction due to the heavy incessant rainfall in the past 48 hours.
Here you see the landslide that this area had witnessed, and the road, the passage has been completely got disconnected. The patch that you see now, the government is trying to restore or reconstruct.
Over 40 dead in Jammu and Kashmir. Rivers creating havoc in Himachal. Homes, temples, schools submerged in Telangana. 7 districts hit by flash floods in Punjab. Unprecedented rains in Rajasthan. Multiple states across India are grappling with flooding. But the people's representatives are busy with abuse politics. Beating up each other, trying to divide the nation on the basis of caste.
हिंदुस्तान की सबसे बड़ी कंपनियां हैं. मैं आपसे आज पूछना चाहता हूं, इन 500 में दलित, आदिवासी, पिछड़ा, अति पिछड़ा